Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the only podcast featuring the host with a black heart that bleeds orange. The guy swears his dog is a panther killer because he's never had a panther in his yard. Give it up for the one and only Jake Rutledge.
What's up, everybody? Brooks, how you doing, big guy?
Man, I'm doing great. If I was any better, I'd have to be twins.
There you go. Yeah, I hear that. So, yeah, we missed last week. Had some stuff come up, and I had to break loose here about 6:30 that afternoon. But yeah, glad to be back, man. Talk a little Gundy. We'll talk some basketball with the new hire, Lindsay head basketball coach. And then we'll talk a little bit of Little League baseball as well. We'll get Jett Wilson on here after a bit. Talk with him, and of course Jadyn Webb, and we'll touch base with her and talk a little bit of softball. And she's also been playing some travel ball, so should have a pretty jam-packed show here tonight. Should be a good one, man. I'm ready for it.
It's going to be fun. Now next week's going to be even more interesting.
Oh yeah. Looking forward. Definitely looking forward to next week and kind of getting that deal kicked off and speaking with those guys. And that's gonna be a lot of fun. So
yeah, maybe not more interesting. This is going to be there's going to be a whole lot. It looks like we've got several people booked for all week next week gearing up for football. So it's going to be interesting.
We'll have a crash course in District 2A3 for sure. We'll run down and we'll talk last year's records, playoffs, all that good stuff, and even try to talk to the out of district coaches as well. Try to get some of those guys on and speak with them a little bit. That being Dibble, Watonga, and Pauls Valley. So Coach Raper over there at Pauls Valley. Try to get him on as well. But no, we'll start, man. This has been a big topic. It kind of started Monday, and University of Oklahoma actually turned loose of or basically forced Kel Gundy to resign after some stuff that he read off of a player's iPad. Everything, story supposedly goes, Gundy was there doing his coaching. Guys were supposed to be in there in the room taking notes and everything, and it's not like it used to be when we were supposed to be in the film room taking notes with a pen and paper. It's 21st century. These guys got iPads and stuff, and supposedly this kid was writing some rap lyrics, and Gundy caught him and called him down, and it essentially turned into what it used to be when you were probably passing notes to kids, other girls there in the classroom. You get caught passing a note, teacher's going to read it and more or less embarrass you in front of the rest of the students, and it had some language in it, and one word in particular that this day and age just it flat don't fly. And supposedly Gundy read it numerous times, and end result being he turned his resignation in, and it's been a hot topic, around the state for sure. There's a lot of people that are fine with it. There's a lot of people that are really upset with it. It was all in Brent we trust here back in January, and now it's what was he thinking running off Cale Gundy, the longest tenured Oklahoma coach, assistant coach, yada yada yada. But it's one of them deals. Like I said, it's a sensitive subject. So just kind of, what do you think about it?
I'll be the first to admit, my as a diehard OU fan and a huge fan of Cale Gundy,
Yep.
My initial reaction was, if they don't bring him back, I'm gonna never go to a game again. But and I think that was a lot of Sooner fans' reaction.
For sure.
But honestly, the more I've thought about it, the more I've had time to stew over it. From me being having experiences in management and a business owner, you know, and also with dealing with the media and the public a lot. You really don't know what happened.
Absolutely.
None of us really know. You don't know what Coach Gundy's feeling inside. You don't know what Coach Venables is feeling. You don't know what the players are, how they're, So I basically, my perspective at this point is, if you're not there and you're not in those rooms and you're not making those tough decisions, it's easy to morning quarterback this thing.
Yeah.
But I'll just put it like this: I have enough faith in Coach Gundy, Coach Venables, everybody at OU to look at it and say, you know what, those guys are very competent. They know what they're doing, and
Yep.
I'm going to trust that they made the right decision.
Well, and two, I think not necessarily this year. I figured Kel will probably take a year off. He's right at 50 years old. He's been at it roughly since 1990. Once he got on campus there in Norman, he was a quarterback 90 to 93. Highly touted quarterback coming out of Midwest City back in the day. Him and Mike as well. Um, so he's been a part of all 14 Big 12 championships, a part of a national championship with Stoops there in 2000. He's going to land on his feet somewhere. It might not necessarily be this year, but we talked about it Monday, just me and you and Eric, and I guarantee you he's gotten a call from Mike from Stillwater, and kind of jokingly, I said Lincoln out there in Southern Cal, might have already called him and said, hey, why don't you come on out here? Who knows? He might take a year off, but I feel like he'll land on his feet somewhere. And shoot, who knows, man? He very well could end up a head coach somewhere. He's, I mean, he's put. You think Brent Venables put in a ton of time as an assistant? Well, think about Kel Gundy. I mean, he's been an assistant basically since he finished his playing career.
Right.
So not that he wasn't maybe ever thought about being a head coach or anything, or shoot, he might have been offered to somebody from somebody. That's his home. He's always going to have a soft spot for the University of Oklahoma. So hopefully he lands on his feet. I think he will. He'll end up somewhere else eventually.
Definitely. And without getting too political, because everybody knows I'm not a political person at all. But without getting too political, I will say this: I do wish modern society, people in general, would take a little different approach to um, certain subjects and topics before we persecute someone over what they said. I
Yeah.
think it would be nice if we would take basically our criminal justice system's stance and look at what their intent was.
Right.
Whenever you read criminal laws, it'll say like knowingly and intentionally, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
Took something or what, but basically, when you read criminal law, it always reverts back to what was that person's intent,
Right.
and I'm trying to think of some laws in particular, but basically homicide. That's an extreme example, but um, homicide, it depends on what your intent was. You're not, if you have a car accident and you accidentally hurt someone or kill them, you're not automatically convicted of murder because they take into account what was your intent.
Right.
So I think in a lot of these cases, especially in cases like Coach Gundy's situation, I wished everybody would just, society in general would step back, take a deep breath, and go, okay, what was his intent with this situation?
Yeah, I was listening Sports Animal here. It was early. It might have been Monday afternoon or so, maybe Tuesday. I can't remember. But Mark Rogers, he made a pretty good point. He mentioned, he said that everybody in society today is so quick to, oh well, just to pass judgment, to make a quick judgment and be like, well, he did this or he's that, just that quick, and like you're saying, what was Gundy's intention? I don't think he was calling that young man that word that that everybody suspects was used, but he read it. He didn't call anybody that. So yeah, and I understand it's sensitive. It rubs some people, and then there's other people it doesn't even phase. So it's one of them deals. You just gotta, as you said, just kind of step back, take a deep breath, and let this whole thing shake itself out. And at the end of the day, like I said, I think Gundy will. I think he'll land on his feet somewhere as probably another assistant. And shoot, I was I was saying the other evening, Monday evening, yeah, Monday down there after in between softball games, I was talking to Brandon Klein. I'd take him in Stillwater in a heartbeat. Come up there and coach the running backs or wideouts, whatever you want to do. Guy's a great recruiter. He's been recruiting for years there in Norman, and they don't drag in slouches there at Norman. So he'd be a good addition just about anywhere in the country, anywhere he ended up or ends up. So
Yeah.
hopefully that's the case, and he'll be able to land on his feet. So
You know, kind of going back to that intent thing. One thing that I notice, I like to whenever I sit back and I watch these things. Look at some of the players that were coming to his defense. One of the players was
absolutely,
Rodney Anderson.
yep,
Now, and you think a little deeper. Rodney Anderson's brother is a receiver there, and so you gotta assume that he was in that room
right,
while it was said. So, in my opinion, had there been any malice or any
right.
bad intent, I don't think Rodney Anderson would have been coming to his defense. So, you know,
Well, and two, you get a guy, that done something crazy while he was there in Norman, Joe Mixon. You know,
yeah,
uh, a terrible scene that night. He hit that girl, and he was disciplined. And you made a pretty good point one day. If Bob was to have just booted Joe Mixon off the team and said, hey, we ain't gonna have that. Hit the road, Jack. Rather than reel him in and discipline him from within. Um, could have been a different story for Joe Mixon. And now he's making millions playing in the NFL, played in the Super Bowl this past February. And Joe, he was one that kind of came to Kell's defense too. Released a statement saying, hey, people make mistakes. He admitted he made a mistake back in the day, and if it wasn't for Kell Gundy, basically giving him a second chance, and Bob, and the University of Oklahoma, he might not be where he's at today. So that's something to think about too. And hopefully that's the case for Gundy, and he, like I said, this is about the 10th time I've said it. He'll land somewhere, and he'll be a good addition to somebody's coaching staff later on down the road.
oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, and you just look at uh, Joe Mixon, Dusty Dvorak,
You bet.
all those guys that were given a second chance.
Hmm.
And again, I'm gonna revert back to what I said earlier. You know, I'm not there. I don't know. I've been in situations where I've been in management, things like that, and I wasn't there. I don't know, but I'm one for you know give them a second chance. Um, that's just kind of my thoughts on the situation. So
I didn't go anywhere, Brooks. I'm right here.
okay, I was wondering what happened. I didn't
I
know
had
if
to
maybe
look real quick.
the house
No,
caught on fire or what.
you're right. Yeah, we exited real quick. Yeah, that's something that needs to be. I think people deserve a second chance, and I think Kel for sure does, and I'll say it again. He'll get that chance
Yeah.
elsewhere later on. Not might not necessarily be this year. He might take a year off and come back next year somewhere. So
Yeah.
very well could be Stillwater. Who knows?
Well, so Jake, it looks like we've got one of our guests ready to join us.
Absolutely.
Coach. Coach, we got you on live now. How are you doing this evening?
I'm good. How are you all?
Man, I'm still the same. If I did any better, I'd have to be twins.
There you go. There you go.
Coach, hey, Jake Rutledge, man, nice to finally to meet you somewhat, and glad you could jump on with us, man. It's a privilege, it's an honor.
Thanks for having me.
now,
Appreciate it.
now, hey, Coach, we don't have a whole lot of time, but before we get started, we like to play a little game called Are You Smarter Than Jake Rutledge? Okay? It's very quick, very simple, very easy. We ask you 3 questions. They're going to be multiple choice questions, and we'll give you the opportunity to answer first, and then Jake, and then we'll rotate. The first question: money that is received for work or services is called profit, income, or expense.
Income.
Jake, agree or disagree?
Income, yeah.
Okay, so you're both 1-1. Next question, Jake. Pay prior to deductions is net or gross pay?
Prior,
Prior to deductions.
it's gross.
Okay, Coach, would you agree or disagree?
I would agree with that.
All right. Okay, final question, Coach. What form is the employee's withholding allowance certificate? W2, W3, W4, or EWC?
W2. No, W4. W4. I'm sorry.
Okay, Jake, would you agree or disagree? Is it
It is.
W2, 3, 4, or EWC?
It is the 4.
All right, you guys are correct. So I guess you guys are on an even playing field. I'm going to step out of the way and let you guys talk.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Hey, Coach. Like I said, first of all, thanks for jumping on with us, man. We appreciate it, and I know it's we're still a little ways out from basketball season, but we wanted to get you on. We had you booked last week. We had some things come up, but again, glad you could jump on here with us. Just real quick, talk about a little bit. You know where you came from and your early career.
Early. Okay. Um. Well, I don't know if you want to get into ancient history or not, but
Oh, come on now.
you know, yeah. Uh, I'll kind of give you the. We had a parent meeting the other day, and I'll kind of give you the speech I gave the parents the other day when we got together. Um, I'm a I'm a retired superintendent. I've been superintendent for the last 20 years,
Right.
and before that, I was a basketball coach, and kind of I've coached 16 high school basketball teams. I was assistant college basketball coach for 2 years. Um, in high school, been to state tournament 3 times. Um, sadly, have won it. I've been beaten in the semifinals 3 times by in the last 30 all 3 times. Coached the Oklahoma Player of the Year twice on 2 different teams. So it's I've been doing the administrative side of this for a long time now, but a couple years ago stepped away from it, and this opportunity came up, and I thought, it's time to might be a good chance to get back and do something that's enjoyable, really enjoyable. Not that school administrators not. It has its it has its pleasures, but it also has its um, this looks like a lot more fun for a while.
Absolutely, yeah, and you mentioned 16 different teams you've coached. That's so you've seen a little bit of everything, and from both sides of it, and that's I, talk about the team that you have inherited here at Lindsay. I mean, I know last year they improved under Coach Walker and have just continued to improve year after year, and talk about those guys and just kind of what's your coaching philosophy, offensively, defensively, like what you might kind of get into. Don't give too much away, but just kind of fill us in a little bit.
I'm book when it comes to all that stuff. I did. have had a chance to watch some of their games from last year.
Mhm.
I was told that this is a special group of boys. That's one reason why I'm here. I know Coach. Well, I don't know Coach Walker. I know who he is. Well, his mother really well. She was my secretary last year
Oh, okay.
at Seaman Public Schools. So,
There you go.
but got to watch some of the game film. I was encouraged by the fact that a lot of the things that he did, trying to do with that team, we're gonna continue to do some of those things. We're gonna do it. But it's like I told Mr. Clark. You know, I only know one style of basketball, and all I can teach. And some people call that cool. You don't see a lot on television anymore. Watching the college game and particularly the NBA game because uh, basketball today is play outside in, and I don't know how to get inside out. My philosophy is if you make them defend inside, your outside shots will be that much. So do some of those things, and pretty excited about that. Um, like I said, I think we've got there's a core of kids here, and they've I think they have potential, and they've done really well. I understand they did really well over the summer, and I look forward to sharing with them what I know about the game. And I'm one of those people. We're going to break it down to the very basics,
Mhm.
and build off of that. There's a lot of games are won by the small details, and so try to teach them. As simple as teaching them we put the pivot on, and which creates space and creates opportunities and those kind of things. And that's just a small example of that. But we're gonna be very strict. We're gonna be very organized. Um, yeah. Um, what too much detail, and I know a lot of people get turned off by X's and O's and whatnot, but we'll run a high level man offense is predicated on the old UCLA scrub stuff, and sprinkled in with a little bit of the uh, triple post features, uh, and try to do some things like that. Basically, what it is wherever the ball goes, there's always three options, and so you're not forcing. We wanted, we want to run the pinch post with pinch post, but if it's not there, they can't cover the other two options. They can cover one of them, but they can't cover the other.
That's right.
So, and if that breaks down, it's not 100% always successful. But if that breaks down, then we move into something else. And so, we've got about three different five-man full offenses. You won't see us dance around on 3 point line. I promise you that. You're gonna see them. We'll make them respect us in the post, and hopefully that makes the perimeter shot that much easier.
Absolutely.
So I hate to cut in, guys, but we've got a message. We've got someone watching here that one of your old zebras wanted to tell you hi. Does the name Larry Wynn ring a bell?
Yeah,
All
he's got a
right,
few.
carry on, guys.
That's okay. That's okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, you kind of you hit on today's game, the college game, the NBA game, and it how it's kind of bled into the high school, and it's a fast pace up and down. You got big men shooting threes all over the place. Oklahoma City just drafted a 7-footer, and Chet Holmgren out of Gonzaga, who I'm sure you did watch some of the NCAA tournament. That
Yeah,
guy, he'd get a rebound, he'd bring the ball up court.
sure.
I mean, it's that's kind of where the game's at today. But it'll be fun to see some old school basketball and like you mentioned, get it down in that low post and make them defend you down there on the blocks. And you're going to have a couple of big guys they're going to be able to battle it out down there, and that'll I'm sure you're lifting policies and everything. Try to bulk those guys up the best that best you can before first game tips this winter, and have those guys beefed up a little bit more and ready to go. So it'll be fun to watch. It might be a different pace than what everybody's used to, but that's the way that's the way it goes. So
Well, I don't know that it'll be any slower pace. It may take, we may make more passes before they're taken.
right,
That I can assure you. I know one thing we're going to do, and we'll probably start working on this day one is we'll run a spot break, and try to beat the other team down the floor. But you
okay,
know, you have to teach kids that if it's a 2-on-3 fast break, you don't basket. It, so that's one of the hard things
yeah,
for young kids is when you have the advantage and when you don't. And start off probably Thursday or Friday. Goes, but there's a lot of things I want to put in, a lot of things that I want to get on. Um, you know, now that you talked about, the defensive philosophy, and I think these kids they're going to be have a great opportunity for these young men. The fact that my dad has volunteered to come over and teach me. I don't know who my dad is, but son of a college basketball coach.
okay,
He has been in a lot of places.
yeah,
He's been in a lot of places. He is grad assistant at the University of Kansas. Was assistant coach at Washington. He was assistant coach at Texas Tech, and finished
oh wow,
20 some odd years as women's coach at USL. But and defense is and he's learned it from the best. And
absolutely,
he's really excited about coming over and teaching. Because the way to teach it correctly is a lost art. I just say there are very few teams in the college game today that do it correctly as far as work, footwork, and influence, and all those kind of things. So, and he knows far more than I hope to. So I
right,
think it's a good opportunity for these kids to have him around, have his knowledge. He don't want to stay on the bench. He don't play. But he does. He is looking forward to teaching again.
yeah,
You know,
for sure. So are you what would you call or call it a are you a fiery coach? Kind of get in them, get on them, or I mean just judging by your your demeanor, you're pretty calm, cool, you're laid back. Is there a switch that you flip once you walk out on the court, or are you kind of like this throughout the ball game?
well, I've been told you're a soft spoken guy. Even my doctor he says you come off as a pretty soft spoken guy. I think you're pretty tight. Um,
Yeah.
there's something about I'm a different person on the basketball court. I'll just tell you that. I'll just tell you. I there are yeah it, I, I'm Doctor on Mr. Hyde, I think.
Okay.
So I get my point across, and I don't have any problems getting in the middle of them when they need when it needs.
Yep. Hey, that's good. That's good to know. So, but
I wish we had more time to talk about the basically the evolution of the player. You've been around high school sports for a few days now, and I'd like to maybe one of these days we can do this off air or whatever. But I'd like to sit down and just and hear your stories about the evolution of the high school athlete and
Yeah,
the changes.
yeah,
yeah, we'll definitely, and like I said, when we first came on, Coach, it's football season, it's right there on the doorstep. It's right here around the corner, and not a lot of people think in basketball, but we wanted to get you on and speak with you. That way, we didn't, first time talking with you would be right before the season starts. So we got a feel for you, and looking forward to it, man. I mean, like
Yeah,
you said, I think it's a good group of guys that you're going to take over, and a little different basketball, but hey, it's always it's gonna be a good season. I got a sneaky feeling about these guys, and
I'm
with the experience you have, and your assistant coming in, it's gonna be could turn out to be a very special season.
I hope so. I hope so. We're going to give it a whirl anyway. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely, and that's all you can do, Coach.
There you go. There you go.
Well, hey, we've got another guest coming on here in just a little bit. So, Coach, I want to say we appreciate you coming on board, and we want to all welcome you and look forward to working with you later on throughout the season.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you guys, and anytime you need me, just give me a holler. I'm glad to talk basketball any day.
All right.
Perfect.
Hey, we appreciate it. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Thanks, Coach.
You're live, Jake.
What's going on, everybody? We're back. We'll talk a little bit of little league baseball. We got Jett Wilson on here. Jett, what's going on, big guy? How are you?
Good, how are y'all?
Doing pretty good. Can't complain. Just hanging out, talking a little sports. Talked with the new high school basketball coach, and kind of got a feel for him. And looking forward to basketball season coming up later on this winter. But we got you on. We're going to talk, like I said, we're going to talk some little league, and supposedly, rumor has it, you've been doing a little bit of travel ball, and talk about a little bit where you played all this summer.
Okay, so I've been playing in Texas most of the year. I played in Oklahoma once, Dallas area, and I played in Houston a couple times. For big events, I played in the Perfect Game National World Series in East Cobb, Georgia. And there was 104 teams in that tournament, and we placed in the top 8 in that. So it was a big accomplishment. Later that week, we drove to Cary, North Carolina, home of the USA baseball team, and I played in the USA Futures events. And they take like kids from there to the USA baseball national team. I picked up with a team from North Carolina in that tournament, so that was a cool experience. And later we came home for about a week, and we went to Florida. I played in the Perfect Game Invitational Championship. The top 24 teams in the nation get invited to that, so that was pretty cool too. And then later that week, we went to Cape Canaveral, and we played in the USSSA Elite World Series, so that was cool. I played with a team out of Oklahoma City there too. And I also played with two Lindsay boys, Riker McCauley and Ash Foster. That was really cool to play with them in that tournament.
Hey, so you
And
think
then
you think
we
you
came
could
home for
talk to
about 2 weeks.
I'm sorry, there's a delay. Hey, side note, can you talk to those guys for us and see if they'll come on the show and talk to us too?
Did we lose him?
I don't know. Did we lose you, Jett?
Wait, I don't have their numbers.
Okay. Well, when
I
you
don't know
see
how
them
to-
next time, you tell them that Robert and Jake want to talk to them.
Sounds great.
All right,
And then
I'm
about
sorry.
2 weeks. Oh, you're good. About 2 weeks later, we went to the Dominican Republic. That was awesome. Just so fortunate for what we have here in comparison to them. Like they may be using one bat per team, and it could be a high school size bat. And if it cracks, they're using that for a long time because they just don't not as fortunate as us.
Wow.
So pretty cool experience.
So how
Just
many?
like the pitching rubbers.
Go ahead. You're good. Go ahead.
Okay, like they had no pitching mounds there, so like they had a rubber. There were softball fields mainly, but the mounds were too short, so they just got a bucket of chalk and poured some chalk out for the pitching rubber.
Really? So you didn't have a legit piece of rubber to push off of?
No, it's a chalk line.
Wow.
So
Now, how many?
Just tells you don't need all this stuff. Just play baseball.
Jett, how many teams were there in the Dominican Republic with you?
I think there's 12. Like I think there's some teams from Panama, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Aruba, Guatemala. I think there's some Mexico teams.
Yeah.
So
A lot of good baseball players
really cool.
down there, right?
There was.
Yeah.
So like say you get like 14 years old down there, and you're a really good baseball player because that's about the only way to get out of the islands and come here. So like they go to an academy, and they for 3 hours they go to school, and they have an hour for lunch, and then for 6 hours a day they practice baseball just to try to get off the island and come here play baseball. Crazy.
wow.
Man, well, and you see a lot of players, come from the Dominican Republic and make it in the big leagues. So that's the situation down there that they have. Obviously, like you mentioned, they're not quite as as fortunate as we are, as privileged as we are here. But for some of those kids to make their dreams come true and get off the island and someday get here in the big leagues, man, that's. You got to tip your cap to those guys, and I mean that shows just how big a heart they got, and they want to live out their dreams. So you gotta appreciate that.
Yes. Like for example, there's this one kid who my dad and his friend were talking to him, so my dad's friend can talk a little Spanish, and I just hit a ground rule double on that field, so it was a pretty good sized field. And he said he hit one yesterday, and with my dad's friend was talking to him, he didn't own a baseball bat. But he had a glove, but there was no webbing in the glove, so I gave him a baseball bat and glove.
Oh man, that's pretty cool.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Now, will you be able to keep in touch with any of those guys, or was that just kind of a this summer one time?
I will not be able to. I don't think so. I didn't get any other numbers or anything, but I think we may go back down there next year and do the same thing.
Well, that'd be cool, man.
Like I'll tell you another story. Like teams in their hometown there in Punta Cana, they've been saving up for 3 years to play in this tournament.
3
And
years.
we just got in like no.
Wow.
And like at a resort, me, my mom, and my dad were complaining that the rooms were too small. There were just 2 queen beds on the resort, and they had 2 families per room there. So crazy.
Wow.
Man.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's so fortunate.
So how long? What are you 12? 12
Yes,
years
I
old?
am. Yes, sir.
So you've been playing
Yes,
forever, pretty much, correct?
I have been. Yes, since I'm about 4 or 5 years old.
So for the folks that don't know, Jett, tell everybody who your parents are.
Yeah.
Leslie and Todd Wilson.
Leslie and Todd. You know, I graduated with your mother.
You did?
I sure did. One of these days, I'll tell you some stories on her. All right.
Sounds great.
Well, I got to ask you, man. So, being 12 years old, obviously you love the game of baseball. Position wise, what do you play? What's your favorite position, man?
Shortstop. That's what I mostly play.
Yeah.
Yeah, shortstop.
Favorite player?
I'm gonna go with Mike Trout.
Mike Trout. Okay. Well, I gotta ask you then, since you're a big Mike Trout fan, him being out there in Anaheim, not necessarily playing on the best of teams out there. Do you think Anaheim should maybe look into trading him sometime down the road, and so that way we get to see him in postseason play?
I wish they would for sure.
Yeah.
I wish they would.
Now, okay, so that kind of leads me to my next question here. Who's your favorite big league team?
I'm gonna go with the Atlanta Braves.
Braves fan. Okay, all right. That's not a bad one. There's a lot of people around the Lindsay, well, especially in Oklahoma, that are Braves fans. So
Like
me,
back,
I'm a Yankees guy. Always.
like Chipper
Do what?
Jones. I like Chipper Jones from back in
Oh
that
yeah,
era. So
yeah.
also
Chipper
like
Jones, Greg Maddux, Levin, David Justice.
yes,
Atlanta had some great baseball teams back in the day, and they're coming back around. Just won them a title here a couple of years ago. So that's good for those guys. And they got one guy, Ronald Acuna. I love watching that guy. He's a firecracker out there. He's a lot of fun to watch, isn't he?
yes he is. I also like King Griffey Jr. I really love him. It's the swing.
Okay, no, wait a minute. You're 12. You're 12 years old. How do you know about King Griffey Jr.?
Just
Just
like
watching
watching
YouTube videos?
documentaries on it, like documentaries on MLB Network and stuff batting. And then
Yeah.
I really like watching Derek Jeter. I don't know if you have or not watched his documentary, The Captain.
Man,
That's really good too.
I watched the first two episodes and I quit watching it and I need to get caught up on that because like I said, I'm a Yankees fan, been a Yankees fan forever and to oh, we got another one jumping on here. So but yeah, I do. I need to catch up on the captain. So looking forward to catching. Have you watched it all? Is it over with yet?
Yes, we watched all the episodes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so Jett, is this your first podcast interview?
Yes, it is. Yes, sir.
So, hey, man, I hate to put you on the spot or put you, make you commit too early or anything, but I want to ask you to promise us one thing, okay? When you make it to the big leagues,
What is it?
When you make it to the big leagues, remember us, your local media guys, and at least give us an interview then.
For sure.
All right. And hey, so are you interested in doing any broadcasting with us? You know, we do some of the high
Absolutely.
school games and some of the little league games, and maybe one of these days, whenever if you're not busy one evening, would you come on and help us?
Yes, I would. That'd be an honor.
You let me know. You know, we're doing the softball, and then of course we'll be doing baseball at the end of the year. And anytime you want to come on, tell your mom or your dad they've got our numbers. Tell them to give us a call, and we'll have you on, and we'll let you do color or play by play, whichever one you want to do.
Sounds great. One last thing. I'm actually next Wednesday, and we're leaving. We're flying out. We're going back to Cary, North Carolina for a USA baseball event. So that's gonna be cool too.
Wow. So how long you staying out there?
We'll be there 5 days. So
Okay.
really
Well,
cool.
I gotta admit, I've been watching. Your mom and I are friends on Facebook, and I've been watching. I'm probably, besides your parents, I'm probably one of your biggest fans. So keep up the good work.
Appreciate it.
Jake, you have anything else?
No, hey, yeah, real quick. I'll step aside from play by play. You obviously have no problem, getting on here and talking and running with it. So, anytime, man, like Robert said, anytime you want to jump on and you're free, we'll put you on, put a headset on you, and you can. I'll just let you run with it, man. I mean, you know the game well enough, obviously, so it'd be a good time to get you on with me, man. I'd enjoy it.
That'd be great.
Well, hey, Jett, I could honestly, I could sit here and talk to you all night, but we've got another guest coming on, and but man, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on.
No, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Okay, you take care, and folks out there watching, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with Jadyn Webb.
See you, Jeff. Well, welcome back, everybody. And man, I had to step aside and get a drink and rehydrate after Jett. Man, he's a little firecracker. He enjoys talking, and boy, he gave us a quick rundown. We told him, we might have to be kind of quick about everything, and he was quick and to the point, wasn't he?
He was.
Golly, yeah, that was pretty entertaining. He'll be a lot of fun to watch. But right now we got jump to the softball side of things. We got Jadyn Webb on here. Jadyn, pretty good showing the other night. You guys win the first two ball games. First game against Ardmore, then turn around and knock off Dibble in a pretty good fashion there. I believe the first game was 8-1 and 6-0. You pitched that first game and was on point. I mean, hitting your spots. There was a few times you painted that outside corner. And we talked about it on the broadcast. That is a great spot. There was a couple of girls that were reaching and swinging for it, but for the most part, you were freezing. So, talk a little bit about that and just coming out and performing as well as you did that first outing of the season.
I mean, I felt like I pitched well. I hit some spots that weren't called, but it happens. You got to work around that with your umpire, talk to your catcher about it, talk to your coach about it. Every pitcher has their off days, and we got 4, luckily, for relief.
Right.
So, I think we're pretty good.
Yeah.
So you've been playing a little bit of summer ball too, am I right?
Yes, I have.
So where all have you been? I'm a little jealous. You guys don't get to go travel around and hit the beach and stuff like that. And poor old Robert stuck here in LA.
I don't really like the beach, so.
Oh, really?
It's okay. No.
So where all have you been?
Well, this summer I have traveled around a little bit, played in Oklahoma a lot. We went to Gulf Shores, Alabama. I played for Oklahoma 18U Angels. We went to nationals there at Gulf Shores. We got first place.
Cool.
Our last game of the inning, we were down 4-0, and our last at bat, we came back and won it 5-4.
Wow. So
very
were you as
exciting.
nervous then as you are now?
No,
No.
not really.
Hey,
So-
we've had you on air before after games, and I mean you were pretty calm and laid back. But yeah, you're good. Just loosen up, have fun.
You there's one thing that and I'd forgot to talk to Jett. I guess he's probably hasn't experienced it much yet, but so you play high school ball, but you also play travel ball, which there's girls from all over the place, So do you ever get in a game where you're playing against someone that you may play travel ball with?
A lot of the times, yeah. We played Ninnicall in our Marlowe League, and I played 2 of the girls on my tournament team in a game.
Yeah, so maybe you have a little inside knowledge on how they're going to hit the ball or whatever,
Or how they pitch or how they catch, throw the
Yeah.
ball.
Yeah. So yeah, that's I thought that was an interesting aspect of the whole summer league thing.
No,
Where
Jadyn,
else-
how long have you been playing travel ball? How many years?
I think 3.
3 years now.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
is it just one team that you play on, or do you have several different teams?
I mean, I pick up here and there. I picked up last summer with Pure, and we went to the Hall of Fame and got 3rd place.
Okay.
Pretty cool experience, I think.
So for the folks that are out there watching that aren't familiar or don't know, or maybe I don't know, who are your folks?
What?
Who's your parents?
Oh, Billy Webb and Ray Webb.
Billy and Ray Webb. Okay.
Yep.
We go way back. I've known your mother actually was the aide. Oh, and this is a cool story because last week we had Coach Estes on. He taught little dribblers. It was like 4th, 5th grade. I don't know, something like that. And your mother was the aide in there, so she got to make us watch us run, and do all that stuff.
Oh, she probably made fun of you.
No, not me.
Oh, not you.
So, Jadyn, jump back to Lindsay here, high school. Talk about that team. I mean, I think, of course, we picked up, late or fall, or excuse me, spring when you guys were starting slow pitch and everything. Had a pretty good slow pitch softball team. Talk about what goals and just how good you think you guys are fast pitch this fall.
I mean, I think we're going to be good. We just need to come together, work together. We have big bats, speed on the bases, 4 pitchers. We're going to miss Cameron as our shortstop, but we'll replace her. I mean, I think we're going to be good. We just got to work together.
Right, and it takes everybody. And like you were saying, with KK, tearing her knee up, being out. I actually spoke with her mom the other night down there. They're hoping for January where she can kind of get back and be ready to go. So again, with her the best, quick, speedy recovery. But yeah, it's next man up mentality. And you mentioned she was a shortstop there, and I think the other night y'all had Taylor there. So not Taylor. She's a good little ball player. Swings a big bat. Guaranteed that. Yeah, and you mentioned speed on the base pass. That's something me and Tandra talked about a lot. Nearly from top to bottom, you guys have speed throughout that lineup, and that's a big deal. That's a big weapon. That's a nice weapon to have.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I think that getting everybody kind of on the same page is probably something that every small school has to deal with and might struggle with a little bit because, in a big school, you may have 10, 15 kids from each class that play together all the way up where, in the smaller schools, it's what, how many seniors do you have?
3.
Three. So, and then, do you know how many juniors or sophomores you have?
We have 3 juniors, I think 5 sophomores,
Yeah. So,
and
I mean,
5 freshmen.
so I guess my point is you guys haven't always played together. Like, with a big school, they may have 10 girls that have always played together that are seniors. So, I think that's something that well, we just have to deal with in small schools.
Well, and two, you got to think about the eighth grade. Well, the girls that are going to start eighth grade tomorrow, when those girls are freshmen, the softball team that you guys could have. I mean, there's some good eighth graders that are playing right now that are going to be a big contributor to for sure 3 years on down the road. With that high school squad. So I think, I mean, if we're being honest, Lindsay softball it's in a really good spot right now. There's an opportunity to win some state championships later on down there. If not this year, who knows? If it breaks right. You mentioned Jadyn only having 3 seniors, so it's not obviously it's not a senior heavy team, but just the experience. Of the handful of y'all that play the travel ball and the games you guys have under your belt, that's good experience moving forward. And like I said, I think Lindsay softball is in a really good spot right now.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get to watch a lot of the game the other night because I was busy cooking hamburgers for y'all. But and putting out Chris's fire. But I I hope he's not watching. So, but we what little I got to watch, I noticed you guys seemed like y'all were really clicking. Everything was going together very seamlessly. So I was impressed. So
Yeah, y'all came out. I mean, and me and Tangent, we talked about this on air. We didn't really know much about Ardmore, other than they're a 5A school. I figured Ardmore, and not taking anything away from those girls by any means, but I figured they'd come out and it'd be a little bit different story. Not saying they would have beat y'all, but an 8-1 win, that raised some eyebrows. I guarantee you.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be tougher, but it really wasn't. They really couldn't. They couldn't get their backs around going.
Right. Well, and that's, I mean, credit to you. Like I said earlier, you picked a great ball game and had, and this is officially unofficial, I counted 9 strikeouts you had.
9, yeah.
9, yeah. So that's a pretty good start to a season for sure. And then of course Reese Flood comes out, the next game against Dibble as a freshman. She also plays travel ball, just got back from California. And for her to step in there and pitch like she did early on, and throughout the whole game, she did great. And then Maddie McGowan, he stepped in there and got the last 3 outs. And so you guys, you got your deep when it comes to the pitching staff. You got some big bats in that lineup, and you got a ton of speed in the lineup. So that could very well equate into the state championship.
Yep, I think so too. If we work together, I think we'll get there.
Yep. Now I gotta ask you about Coach Edwards. Does he get on y'all pretty hard during practice?
This year he has been. I mean, it's good for us. It makes us work harder, I think. So, yeah.
Whenever I first met the guy last year, and it's like very cool, very calm, and through most of the games during baseball season, you didn't see him. He never got upset, and then it was like all of a sudden one game he came alive. And but
you talking about CCS?
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, he got wound up. I don't know what, I can't remember what the call was, but there was something that he didn't agree with there from the home plate umpire. And well, he come down that third baseline and he wanted an explanation right then. And that was a side of Coach Edwards we hadn't seen yet. You know, it kind of opened our eyes, and I was like, well, he's got a little bit of fire to him. So I'm just curious if he jumps on y'all during practice and lights a fire under y'all.
Sometimes he does.
If you need to.
Motivator.
Absolutely.
It's like Coach Chavez from OU said, I don't know, he said something like, when the boys aren't getting with it, we make them line up. And then he stopped and he's like, and we got a way of getting them motivated. Coach Edwards got a way of getting you girls motivated.
I think so.
Well, every good coach does, man. I mean,
right.
they can flip that switch like we talked about with Coach Davidson. You know, he was on with us earlier, Jadyn. I don't know if you've seen any of it, but just a real calm, laid back kind of guy. And that's why I asked him. I said, you know, once you step on that, you know, center court there, is there a switch that you can flip? And he said, oh yeah. He said, I turn into a different person. He said, I'm Jekyll and Hyde, put it that way. So most coaches do have that switch that they can flip, and then that bleeds over into you guys. And turns out to be a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't even remember where I read this, but it was something to the effect of, you know, the coaches, if they know you have more in you, then they'll push you a little bit harder.
Yep.
So if the coach is pushing you, it's because he knows you've got it in you.
That's right.
Got confidence in you. But hey, we're out of time, guys. You have anything else, Jett?
No, I just hope it's a good season and we go somewhere.
Well, I will see you Friday.
Okay, I'll see you Friday.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
Take care.
Thank you.
Jake, you got any final words for the fine folks of L-Town?
Man, nothing really. Like we talked about when we first came on, next week is going to be a big week for us. Should be hopefully every night of the week. Speak with some opposing coaches and get those guys on and kind of give the folks a crash course in District 2A3 and talk a little bit of Leopard football, man. It's here. We got to get Hembry on. Of course, we talked to him right after he took the head coaching job after Coach Inman, moved up into administration. But looking forward to having Hembry on later on and talking Leopard football. And we're going to talk. District 2A3.
Looking forward to it.
All right, buddy. Well, that's all I got, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. And we're going to get out of here. Good night.
Thanks, everybody.